Here we're looking at the U.S. government 10-year bond yield and the Canadian government 10-year bond yield. Very similar type trends. This chart starts in 1950 because we want you to see the great climb that we experienced in the 70s going into the early 80s. And therefore, when people whine today at these rates, given our historical perspective and how long we've been doing this, we don't have much stomach for the whining. This was the golden age. This is when money was cheap. Now it's just moving back into rational territory,
Right.
is all that it's doing. And by the way, the bond market is telling the world that the Canadians are less risk-oriented. There's less risk lending your money to the Canadians than to the U.S. And that ties into our safe haven that we've been preaching for a while, that Canada is one of our safe haven economies.
Yeah, absolutely. Expect interest rates, look at this from right to left. Expect interest rates as we go through that inflationary period to move similarly, which is to say not in a straight line. It'll ebb and flow, up and downs, whatever you want to call it, but it will move higher. And as it does, it's going to feel to you and to a whole lot of people like, oh my gosh, especially if you're younger, these interest rates are going so high. All that Brian and I want to do is put it in perspective. They've certainly been higher. We've lived through this period and through here where they were ascending and through there, and businesses expand and people have families and...
Bought my first home right about here. I mean, the world doesn't stop.
That's exactly the point. And
so this is that little softening that Alan was talking about, right? And here's maybe that 2027 softening in the overall global economy, and then we're right back off to the races. We're not thinking that we're going to go this high. We're not going to go back up to that precipice. And with our long-range forecast for interest rates, Alan, and I get this question sometimes, should I get a 7-year loan and refinance after 7 years? And that, to me, says no, because you'll be refinancing at a higher rate. You're better off taking the fixed rate now rather than having to refi in 7 years. Now, if you can get a 10 or 15-year, then 15-year in particular, you're talking it's worthwhile doing.
right, if somebody will do that for you.
Yeah. All right, here, Alan pulled together a new home sales price, which is the green, and existing home sales price, which is the blue, different length history. And this is the Great Recession and what it did to home prices. And this is during the COVID period, and now the slight letdown that is happening on the new home prices. But the story here is, from our perspective, is as much as this has elevated these home prices, we've run the numbers. They haven't changed from the last time we spoke to you about this. We would both still be buying at these price levels because of the next 5 to 6 years anyways of additional price rise. And then by the time we get back to 2036, we're still going to be above where we are today. So we would still make that deal. We would still buy that home today.
Exactly so. And it has not changed. You're absolutely right. And just to add a little bit to that, as you know, Don and I just did that. And so we took our own advice and bought some more real estate because we believe in that future that you just described.
Yeah. And I've been investing heavily into real estate also. And we're not saying that so that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy or anything like that, or we're talking ourselves into it. We're just putting our own money where our mouths are.
Right.
That's all. That's the point of that.
And hopefully that helps if your offspring, your younger kids or young adults, whatever age, whatever the appropriate term is, are hesitating, that you remember that this is still a good time. We started off with all the negative numbers and new home sales and existing home sales and housing permits and all the rest of that. It's actually a pretty good time to take advantage of some of the negativism that's out there. And the interest rate at 7%.
It's doable.
Yeah, it is. And if you put your 20% down, you don't have to pay the mortgage insurance. And around here, at least, a cost of a home, reasonably priced home, is less than the rent that you'd have to pay. So it's worth pursuing.
Yes, so many people can't get that down. So help your kids get that down payment. Help them get out of the house so that you can be empty nesters that much sooner. Life's pretty good when you're an empty nester. But here's one of the things I looked at. All right, electricity is going up. That's this dark blue line, the producer price index. So the question I presented to myself was, well, how can I make money off of that other than just sharing the information with you all? And I looked at this energy sector ETF. and it has more volatility, clearly some more beta, but if you can take the beta, it generally captures what's going on in those electricity prices. I'm not sure at 67 I want to take that beta. I may try and time this a little bit better, because don't try and time it.
You're 68.
I'm 68?
Yeah, just thought I'd pass that along.
No, you're 68. Anyways, it's just a way that instead of saying, oh my gosh, electricity costs are going to go up, I immediately went to, okay, there's got to be a way to make money off of that. And there is a way to make money off of that.
Absolutely.
I use this slide a lot more than Alan does. So for those of you that are familiar with my presentation, there's no surprise here. But the US slice of the global economy continues to get larger. Over the last 3 years, this number has gone up and up and up 3 consecutive years, while China's slice of the pie has gotten smaller for 3 consecutive years.
So what about all those people that say China is going to become larger than the United States by 2035 or something like that? What about all those people who say that our economy is under pain? And yeah, exactly so. There is a really notable person who still maintains that China will be the larger economy than the United States. I think it was by 2035.
No way.
And I thought, I didn't know he was a moron. I was
I'm glad you didn't say the person's name.
not this time. But this is amazing that what is not known out there.
Yeah, and with the negative demographic and the lack of legal structure and the lack of resources, there's no way they're going to do anything but continue to diminish. Remember, Japan at one time was the world's second largest economy right behind the United States, and now they've slid into 4th place. And you were surprised, Alan, when you saw this, because Germany's now inched up into 3rd place.
Yes, it's amazing and nice to see. Add in North America. Embrace all of North America, and you have population to the south that can help augment our population.
Sure.
You have lots of natural resources to the north, which can help our
You're
natural resources. So
all of North America, then.
yeah.
Sure.
Powered by the U.S., but the North American bloc is going to be extremely important as we go through the next several decades. I remember the study you did that shows we remain the #1 economy for decades to come. And it was eye-opening because it was a very scientific, very thought-through process that you use. That for the rest of our lives and beyond, the U.S. will be #1, so our children, grandchildren, your children and grandchildren will be at the center of economic activity for all those years. Hey, thank you for joining us today. It's been great having this opportunity to spend some time with you, to talk to you about what's coming. We hope that it helps guide your thinking, your strategies, and then your tactics as you go forward so that you can have a great 5 years. And as Brian said, when we get together in December, not only is it our last time, it'll be more personal in nature. Instead of talking about what businesses can do, that one's going to be devoted to what individuals can do. And we're going to be breaking it down by age. Right? You know, you're young, you're middle age, and you're older. We're going to be talking about action items and what you can look forward to. We're personally very excited about that one in December. We think that it'll bring a lot to a lot of people, and we hope to see you there.